Western civilization represents the synthesis of all that came before. Everything that came before, including Islamic civilization, have now been surpassed, superseded by Western civilization. This is the best. And all previous religions now belong to the museums of history. Huh? All previous religions are now obsolete. You know, like the computer you had 10 years ago? Obsolete. Huh? Moribund, obsolete. Belonging to museums of history. Their time in history have come and gone, never to come back. And modern Western civilization represents the best, the highest state of progress that mankind has ever achieved. You know, when a man can marry another man. When a man can marry another man, they're going to be hating me when they listen to this lecture. And when women can be dressed and yet be naked, that's progress. And when people can have sexual intercourse in public like donkeys, that's progress. I tell you, they're going to hate me. They say this is the best. But they say something more than that. Now this is dogmatic. This is not a part of Friedrich Hegel at all. I don't know where they got this from. They said nothing will come now. This is the last. This is the last. There's nothing to come to surpass modern Western civilization. What was his name? The Japanese fellow? Yeah. Fukuyama. Fukuyama. This is the best, and there's nothing to come to surpass modern Western civilization. Oh, but wait, this is not the whole story. Come on, Fukuyama, there's more to this. Why is Western civilization obsessed with the Holy Land? Come on, tell me. You're supposed to be secular, but you are obsessed with the Holy Land. Why did you launch the Crusades? No other Christians join in the Crusades. No, only the white. Only the white Christians. They're the only ones. That sounds mysterious. I want an answer, particularly from the Pope in Rome. Why is it that Britain, which is supposed to be a secular state, in October of 1917 issues this strange and mysterious declaration called the Balfour Declaration, that it is the intention of the British government to work for the establishment of a Jewish national home in the Holy Land. It sounds as though modern Western civilization is pursuing a religious agenda. It's time for us to say so. Put it on record. And why is it that Britain in 1948 acted like a thief in the dark, functioning as the midwife for the baby to be born? The state of Israel. The British are very particular about law and transfer of power. You know, midnight and the flag and all the drums and song. The transfer of power is part of the pageantry of Britain. when they decolonize, and a constitution and so on. But for Israel, they didn't do that. There was no legal transfer of power for Israel to be born. No, Britain, you left like a thief in the dark. Why? Is it because this Israel must have credentials as Holy Israel? It seems as though modern Western civilization is pursuing a religious agenda. Why does Britain maintain such a strong, close relationship with Israel? Sending spies into the Muslim world, Lawrence of Arabia, all the others, to wreak havoc amongst Muslims for Israel's sake. And then when Pax Americana took over from Pax Britannica, do you have any tools of political analysis to explain to me why does the United States of America have this strange and mysterious obsession with Israel, protecting Israel, with countless vetoes in the Security Council of the United Nations? Why is there this massive transfer of wealth to Israel? Why is there this massive transfer of military technology to Israel? Why? It seems as though the United States has a religious agenda as well, that they want Israel to become the ruling state in the world. And those who control power in the United States know that the time has now come for the United States to bow so Israel can stand. And therefore the US dollar has to collapse, the American economy has to collapse. So it will be very convenient for us now to make sure we put a black man as president. So he'll be the fall guy. I hope Barack Obama listens to this lecture. Is it that modern Western civilization is led by people who are themselves pursuing a religious agenda connected with Akhiru Zaman? Is it? Yes, it is. And now we come to the Islamic view of the end of history. Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam told us that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created a being and programmed that being to function as someone who would impersonate the true Messiah. And he called him Al-Masih al-Dajjal. Al-Masih al-Dajjal. And so Dajjal will one day appear as a human being. I believe that's not too far from now. Maybe another 20, 25 years, 30 years, Dajjal is going to appear as a human being. Yeah, in Jerusalem. In order for Dajjal to convince the Jews that he is the Messiah they're waiting on, okay, he has to liberate the Holy Land. He has to bring the Jews back to the Holy Land to reclaim it as their own. He has to restore a state of Israel in the Holy Land. Oh, but he's already done all of that. How did he do it? The Quran tells us that Allah created human beings from Banu Adam. Human beings. I have created creatures of mine so powerful that none but I can destroy them. Therefore, I want to suggest to you that Gog and Magog must have a unique genetic composition. The Ashkenazi Jews the European Jews have precisely that unique genetic composition, different from all the rest of mankind. They suffer from diseases no other human being suffer from. And this is medically proven. Gog and Magog are in the Quran. And with their power, which cannot be destroyed except by Allah, with their power they unleash upon the world fasad. Fasad is criminal conduct, not just sinful conduct, criminal conduct, which is so abhorrent that Allah has reserved the worst punishment of all for fasad among the hudud. For fasad you begin with banishment, but you know where you end? The worst one? You cut off the hand and the feet on opposites. This is the Quran. This is the Quran. You cut off the hand and feet on opposite sides and crucify them. Allah has commanded that in the Quran for fasad. And Gog and Magog, inna ya'juja wa ma'juja mufsiduna fil ard. Which surah? Suratul Kahfi. Suratul Kahf of the Quran. One of the last books I have written is an Islamic view of Gog and Magog in the modern world, and we have that book outside. And so Dajjal uses Gog and Magog to do this work, to wage the crusades, to liberate the Holy Land, to bring the Jews back to the Holy Land, to restore the state of Israel. He uses Gog and Magog. The Islamic view of the end of history, therefore, revolves around Dajjal and Gog and Magog, and we have recognized them, who they are. Allah speaks in the Quran about Jerusalem, that Jerusalem is central to the end of history. Yeah. But He does not name Jerusalem by name. You have to get all the data in the Quran to be able to identify the Qarya. وَحَرَامٌ عَلَى قَرْيَةٍ أَهْلَكْنَاهَا أَنَّهُمْ لَا يَرْجِعُونَ حَتَّى إِذَا فُتِحَتْ يَأْجُوجُ وَمَأْجُوجُ وَهُمْ مِنْ كُلِّ حَدَبٍ يَنْسِلُونَ. A people, a town has been destroyed, and Allah has expelled the people of the town, and He's put a ban on them that they can never return until Gog and Magog are released, Ya'juj and Ma'juj. And not only are they released, but they spread out in all directions, and therefore with their power, which you cannot break, they control the world. They control the world. So history ends with Dajjal as the mastermind in the world, and Gog and Magog doing the groundwork. The view of Islam, however, is that when Israel becomes the successor to the United States, Pax Judaica replaces Pax Americana, and I wrote this book 10 years ago, Jerusalem in the Quran, 10 years ago, in which we said a day like a year, Dajjal's Yawmun Kasana was Pax Britannica. It produced Pax Britannica. A day like a month, Yawmun Kashahr, gave us Pax Americana. And then finally a day like a week, Yawmun Kajum'ah, will give us Pax Judaica. That Israel is going to replace the United States as the next ruling state in the world. 15 years ago when we said this, they were laughing at us. They're not laughing anymore now. No. Israel is about to launch her wars. But Israel cannot launch those wars until she has a justification, therefore the Arab uprisings. And Israel has to remove that threat from Pakistan. Pakistan, nuclear weapons and nuclear plants have to go, and Iran's nuclear plants have to go, because they pose a threat to Israel. And so When you see Pax